is a protest against the politics that they don't care about the safety of the teacher of Buena Vista Horace Mann, about the student and the community of Buena Vista Horace Mann. We are here to fight for the rights of those people that they don't have a voice. In our school, 80% of the students are Latinos. Therefore, they don't care. Please join us. That is what we need. That is what we are asking for. We are no beggars. We are fighting for the right of the people that need it.
My name is Charlotte, and I'm a teacher at Buena Vista Horace Mann. And I'm here because our students need to be able to learn in an environment that is safe, where they have air to breathe that is clean, and that's not currently possible in our building. Our building needs extensive renovation. It's extremely old, and it's starting to get to the point where it's impacting student safety, and we can't stand for that, and we need to take some kind of action to let it be known that our school and our community is not going to stand by and allow these conditions to continue.
So the school district had some time during the summer what happened to clean it up?
I mean, there wasn't a whole lot done to make the building the kind of facility that we really need. I mean, we've had multiple incidents where students are not safe, and our quality of life is being impacted, and something needs to be done to make our building the kind of institution that our students deserve.
Are you worried about students getting sick, or teachers, or staff?
Everyone's safety is in danger in that building. There's a rodent infestation. The infrastructure is crumbling. The electric system is, a student received an electric shock. Like, it's an incredibly old building. We had a gas leak last week. Like, these are conditions that just cannot be allowed to continue.
And there's so much wealth in San Francisco. Billionaires?
In the wealthiest city in the country, in the world, students are going to school in a rat-infested building that could kill them, that could give them an electric shock, or there could be a gas explosion. And it's unacceptable, and it would not be happening at a school with demographics that look different, because we're at a primarily low socioeconomic status and primarily Latinx school. We're not given the kind of resources that we need to be given for it to be equitable.
My name is Sam, and I'm a parent at Buena Vista Horace Mann, and I'm here because our facilities have been neglected for many years, and I'm worried about climate change and the smoke adding to our COVID situation. We have no ventilation, and the guidelines for orange air are unacceptable, and we need facility renovations years ago. There's some bond money. I'm not really sure what happened to it, but we were supposed to have some, and it never came to fruition, and I would like some answers about that. We had a gas leak on Friday. It's not right.
All the money that was supposed to be spent, there was a lot of money that was supposed to be spent. What happened to it?
We're not sure. There was a bond in 2016 that I believe had Buena Vista's name earmarked on it, and there were 17 sites that were listed. That was like $700 million, and I'm really curious to know what happened to it, because the renovations did not come to Buena Vista. And there is a situation where the east side schools seem to be more neglected than the west side schools, and the squeakiest wheel should not be the one always getting the oil. So that's my concern. That's why I'm here.
Worried about the lack of ventilators at our sites, among other things. That's the main reason I'm here. Yeah, so the district has formally agreed to spend a few $1 million, but we're not entirely certain that's sincere. It might take more. We want a firm commitment to ventilators in every class.
What's your name?
I'm Mac.
Are you worried about getting sick? Students around the country and teachers have died?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Are a lot of teachers concerned?
Yeah, every teacher's concerned. That's why we're all here. I mean, it's all in the front of our minds. I was speaking to another educator who recently had several students at their school come down with COVID. We want to stop that from happening, and if we don't take action now, it'll get much worse.
You think you can have safe rooms? You think you can have safe rooms going back to school with COVID, with the pandemic, in the middle of the pandemic?
So I think if we take the right precautions and if we have the right materials, yes, I do think it could be done. But right now, they're not doing enough to make us feel confident. We don't feel safe right now.
How long have you been a teacher?
I just started as a substitute teacher this year. I used to be a classroom aide.
President Cassondra Curiel. I've been teaching in SFUSD at Visitation Valley Middle School for 10 years, and I see Viz out here. Right, the Bayview has been the heart of my teaching career. It's where my heart still stays. That's why we know why we're out here today, is the problems that we've been talking about for decades. Those problems that have existed in communities like the Bayview for decades. It is systemic, it is racist, and it is meant to work exactly how it was made to work, and we aren't standing for it anymore. Right? We are the ones that are going to save us, which is why you're here, which is why we're here, which is why we've got folks in elected positions to dismantle the systems that have created the kinds of inequity that we are suffering from now. Right? We've got a climate crisis on our hands. California is burning. And here in San Francisco, we reap the impact of that in our air quality. On top of a pandemic, a global pandemic that has raged through an entire globe. And we cannot fully and rationally expect that a school district meant to prioritize the education of students is wholly responsible as a Department of Education. I think not. That is not appropriate, and we're not standing for it anymore. It is going to require every single person involved, all of the bodies, elected, individual, at sites, administrators, custodial, all of our workers, all of our families, all of our students, working together to keep the pressure on until we get exactly the highest quality standards that we are fighting for. Not one of us should live in existence with low quality standards. We certainly as educators do not. We do not teach the minimum. We never have. Why would we expect the minimum from our Department of Education or Department of Health for that matter? Not acceptable and no longer gonna happen. We are demanding air purifiers in every single space because our students, our educators, our families deserve to know that they are working and learning in healthy air conditions. At minimum. We deserve the best. Right? We deserve the best. We deserve to have universal testing. When we see the surge that was coming, we saw this coming and we asked for it at the bargaining table. Rafael was there with us. We asked for this. Now no more. We demand. We know that it works. We know that it works. And in the interim, and being rational individuals and waiting for the implementation of the actual transparent plan to put in these air purifiers that we knew we needed in 2018 when the smoke shut down our schools. I was there on the ground with my students in my classroom as smoke filled our building from hundreds of miles away. It's unacceptable. And while we're waiting for those to get implemented, we demand high quality masks now for every single person in the building. I agree with Commissioner Lopez. This is the minimal that we're asking, which is why this is the first step. This is the first step in a series of other steps where you are going to continue showing up, and we are going to work together to make sure this plan and more get implemented for the highest quality safety conditions that we can get in our classrooms, because we love our communities and we know that this is what they need to be safe too. We care for our students and we need this in every single school site, no matter what, no exceptions.
that is having on our site. So I'd like to start with a few quotes taken from my SFUSD nurse colleagues last week. So the first one, I've had a terrible time juggling COVID mitigation and protocol with my day-to-day nursing tasks. I've had multiple cases at my school. I'm really struggling to get everything done, and it's extremely stressful. I don't know how I can possibly do all of the things I'm supposed to be doing. Okay. With all of the COVID management on top of day-to-day first aid, I haven't been able to do any other part of my job. I haven't been able to review health conditions because I don't have time to clear emergency cards, which means I can't send out emergency care plans or medication forms. I am drowning. It feels unsafe and chaotic to keep it all straight. I am worried about an emergency. So as you can see, our school nurses are on the front lines of COVID management, performing all kinds of duties like screening students, tracking symptoms of students and staff, coordinating quarantine and isolation periods, we're clearing people to return, we're contact tracing and doing notification for positive cases, we're assisting with COVID testing, educating our school communities about COVID guidelines, and providing communication and follow-up with our students, families, and staff, as well as collecting and completing lengthy documentation for all of these services. So, as you might imagine, we have little to no time to do our mandated nursing activities. Things like managing medications, doctor's orders, emergency care plans, training staff in safety protocols, getting student immunizations, coordinating 504s and IEPs for our most medically vulnerable students, supporting with any physical and mental health needs, and seeing actual live students at our schools. And nurses being pulled from these duties is an enormous safety issue. The reality is that COVID coordination is an additional job position that the district is asking nurses to take on. But how can we do 2 full-time jobs safely and effectively?
Next speaker is Raphael Picasso from SEIU.
Hello everybody, how y'all doing today? Hope you all stayed safe, got a mask on. My name is Raphael Picasso. I am the SEIU 1021 School District Chapter President. And I stand in solidarity with United Educators of SF, United Administrators, and Local 21, and all our craft unions. We want safe schools. We've asked for safe schools. The district knew that the ventilation was a problem, not just yesterday, not today, but yesteryears, okay? So to say we're just getting these air purifiers with HEPA filters in them right now and they're getting ordered, which is all fine and dandy, but we needed them yesterday. We needed them yesterday to protect our teachers. We needed them yesterday to protect our students. So let's get on the ball, city and county supervisors. Let's help the Board of Education come up with some money, because we're going to need more than $3 million to service all our schools out there and to protect all our students out there. And especially our teachers. We got custodians out there. We got student nutrition workers out there that's been working since the beginning of this pandemic. And they're working today, every day, loyal workers. Our teachers are back at schools. We opened up the school system. We opened it up because we cared about our kids. We want to educate our children. We want to be back working, but we want to be here working safely. We don't want to lose one child. We don't want to lose one teacher. We don't want to lose one staff member. We don't want to lose one administrator to COVID-19. Okay? It's a deadly virus. I've lost friends and family to this virus. It's real. Okay? It's real. And I would like the city of San Francisco to realize how real it is and to help the district to get ventilation in all our classrooms. It's very important. So I want to, people, put the pressure. Go to the board meetings, go to the Board of Education meetings, and let them know we're not going to stand here and let any of us be sacrifices to the system. Because our people are important and we all deserve clean air and safety in our school systems. Thank you.
staff that work with us. When made aware of the scale and urgency of the situation, our division leadership was dismissive of our concerns and pushed back on our suggestion to bring on additional staff to help. Meanwhile, they offered no alternative solutions or even any indication that they would try to find one. And the work required for COVID management cannot just be pushed onto other staff already working at sites. In fact, we stand in solidarity with all of our staff who are being affected by the additional COVID workload. If San Francisco and SFUST are serious about having students continue with in-person learning, then providing additional COVID support during a pandemic surge must be a priority. If families want their students to be safe and in school, then our school nurses and our staff need support now. Thank you.
Nuestra escuela ha tenido sucesos donde se han derramado galones de gas en nuestra escuela. La electricidad, ha habido un niño que ha sufrido con una descarga eléctrica y para ellos está bien. Cuando van, solamente van a dar una visita como turistas y no dan lo que necesitan. No se ponen a ver en la necesidad y si hubiese pasado algo más catastrófico, no queremos que pase eso. Queremos que nuestra escuela esté bien. No queremos una escuela bonita, sino segura, donde nuestros niños estén seguros y toda nuestra comunidad. Así que arriba, sí se puede.
And students at every school. 同埋嗰啲檢測安排嗰啲時間都係覺得唔足夠，佢應該分班分年級安排某啲時間嚟，唔應該係咁樣短時間2個鐘3個鐘堆埋晒一齊，嗰個風險都係好大。And the testing time is still not enough. We should allow it for long hours, not only 2 hours. You should provide us for more option for a regular testing, maybe a long hour, whole day and every day. 同埋校區應該提供嗰啲高質量嘅口罩俾老師學生，例如 N95嗰啲。And we also urge the school district to provide a high quality mask like N95 to all our students and teachers. 據我所知，依家有好多嗰啲課室都冇嗰啲消毒用品啊，例如嗰啲消毒紙巾啊、噴霧嗰啲都冇。既然你校區係要求學生返去學校上課咧，就應該做足準備，增加呢啲措施，備多啲嗰啲消毒紙巾啊、防嗰啲消毒噴霧啊之類嗰啲嘢，全部都要齊全。From my understanding, there are lots of classrooms still lack of wipes and sanitizing spray. So when you ask a student to go back to school, I hope all the school and the school district could be well prepared and then to provide a safe environment for our kids. 同埋仲有食飯嘅時間嗰時，啲學生係除晒口罩嘅，佢哋個風險又增加咗啦，所以嗰個距離一定要確保係有效嘅社交距離。And during lunchtime, when all the kids take off their masks to eat, so there is a risk for the virus within that small classroom or within that small schools. So we hope that we can still keep the distance learning between students, and this must be enforced. 我哋熱愛我哋嘅社區，我哋關心我哋嘅學生，所以應該以我哋嘅學生嘅安全為前提。希望校區聽到我哋嘅家長嘅訴求，應該加快去做呢啲防疫措施。多謝大家。
We love our community. We care for all our students and hope that the school district can listen to our concern and do more for us to protect our community. Thank you so much.
Do we want it? What do we want? Where do we want it? Good afternoon, everyone. I am an 8th grade student at BBHM. We are all here today because we know there's money and resources to repair all the problems in our school, but we haven't seen any changes. The falling ceiling tiles and the wrecked bathroom mirrors, you can't even see your reflections in. When I was in 5th grade, I came to school every day to learn, but unfortunately, a tile fell from the ceiling one morning before school. Hearing this as an 11-year-old, I was terrified. What if I was in the classroom at that time? What if the tile fell on my head? We had to wait 30 minutes before our teacher could find the classroom we could be in. Those were 30 minutes where I could have been learning and making use out of my time. This shouldn't have happened. When I go into the bathroom, I can't see my reflection in the mirror. It's scratched and worn out, and all of this was before the deadly virus spread through our community. Now we have to deal with falling ceiling tiles, gas leaks, unventilated rooms, and literal classrooms without any windows. We need the district to fund our schools because if they don't, I'm scared one of my friends or even myself will get really hurt or really sick. Welcome Michelle, Cody, and the team from Willie Brown. Hey everyone, can you hear me? Alright, first of all, I want to take a special moment to shout out my Willie Brown staff. We came from the south side of the city to represent, to show how important this is. I want to take you on a little bit of a journey. I want to take you on this little bit of a journey. Don't forget, in the early 40s and 50s, that the city dumped toxic waste in the Bayview Planners Point area. So for years and decades, our families have been exposed to all kinds of toxic waste. And so all that we are asking is that our side of the city is getting the respect that we deserve. We want to make sure that our babies have the right to have education in a safe space. And since we have supervisors here, we want to let y'all know that you should be taking care of these babies, because what we fail to realize is we always want to call these students SFUSD students. They are not. They are the city students. These are our city babies. And if we want to get money from the people who have the big pockets, you got to let them know that these children are your responsibility. They're growing up to be the new mayors, the new supervisors, the new teachers, the new engineers. And if they don't have access to all the things that they deserve to have access for, then how can we continue to thrive? How can they continue to get what they need and what they desire? And I know that there's more dog owners in this city than there are people who have children, and that's okay. That's the things they always want to throw around. But guess what? Eventually, you're going to retire. Eventually, you're going to need somebody to take care of you. So what do? You pour in. You water the seed so that they can grow, so that we can have beautiful flowers and trees and human beings that are our students. And so we're asking the folks who make the room, and it's not the teachers. Like, I'm tired of everybody being on us as educators. It's not our fault. We have to always buy supplies. We always have to reorganize our lives to support the students. It is now time for the folks that get paid from us to stand up at solidarity, not for just us, but for their constituents. And guess what? Their constituents are not just the people who can vote for them. Their constituents are every single person that breathes air in San Francisco. And that's all we're asking for. I also want to take a moment to talk about our custodians, because our custodians have been there since day one. Since day one. And let me tell you, baby, every time there is any kind of COVID outbreak, they're the ones who are cleaning and closing the classrooms. They're the ones that are cleaning up, throw up, and not knowing what it is. They're the ones that are saving our schools every day. And you know what?
have climate change, and that wildfires are a part of Northern California. That's our reality. Even before that pandemic hit, I was visited about getting air filters in our classroom, about N95 masks. That was at least 3 years ago. And here we are today, still having that discussion. When we were told we needed to stay home and figure COVID out, we did it. When they told us we needed to up our digital game so that we could start our classrooms from home, we did it. We did it. We did it. When we were doing what we could to keep our families safe, our children safe, our elders, our parents, for those of us that are sandwiched between taking care of the older and the younger, we did it. I've been teaching at Flint for 18 years, and I'm a mother of 4. 3 of them are SFUSD students. I'm at Flint, I got 1 at Soda, I got 1 at Mission, I got 1 at James Lick. If I get sick and they get sick, just there, we've impacted 4 schools directly. So what we're asking for is to stay in person. Because I remember when our city decided to sue us and to throw teachers under the bus. And we still did it. When they came up with them crazy ass hybrid schedules, we still did it. When we didn't have all the tools for technology, we still did it. So now it's time for you to do it. Now it's time for our union, our school board, our city leaders, our mayor. You all need to figure it out. Because if we can do a lot with nothing, you all need to open those coffers and get us what we need. It's basic. We have a right to clean air. We have a right to stay alive. Now I am grateful to our school board and to our union for keeping us safe. Because those were some scary, scary times at first. I'm glad that none of us in my family got COVID. And then my father-in-law, who lives next door to us, with all kinds of illnesses, is still alive and healthy. But there's no doubt in my mind, now that I am back full-time, even though it's not even been 3 weeks, there's no doubt in my mind that the best way to serve our children is in class. That's the truth. I can show up so much better in the classroom with my students, but they're shoulder to shoulder, sitting at their desks. They're shoulder to shoulder eating lunch.
And before I share with you all our reassurance of the demands that we've been hearing this entire time, I want to remind us all to pause and to breathe. I am noticing and acknowledging that we've been in crisis mode for a really long time, some of us longer than the pandemic, and we really need to stay grounded if we want to remain in this fight. As a school district and our school board, we understand, even as educators, what you're going through and our continued commitment to keep our students safe. The demands that you're asking for are minimal. We know our city is ready and able. That is what I'm seeing here today. I see communities coming together. We're hearing from our students. We're hearing from our teachers and families. We all are aligned in our messaging that our one job is to educate students, and we have to ensure the safest possible environment during this time. We will continue to push and work together and communicate with our city leaders to make sure that this happens with you all. But I especially am going to continue to listen to our families who are suffering the most, who are living in fear, who do not want to send their children to our schools because of everything we just heard. I am listening to that. We all are here to ensure that you get to feel safe while being educated however you choose to do that. Thank you so much for coming together, and we'll continue fighting.
For the last year and a half, COVID contact tracing. Those individuals have been doing this work. They're prepared and they're professionals. We know that they can offer their assistance to the school district in order to contact trace. so that our principals, our educators, our school clerks are not spending hours upon hours trying to track down something, right? They don't need training on how to be a contact tracer. We need professional contact tracers who've been working for the last year and a half on that, and the city can help with that immediately. We know that students are getting COVID, and disproportionately, it only makes sense. The narrative that students don't get them in schools is a false narrative. It's not that they don't get them in schools, it's that school districts have systematic levels of discipline, which is just behavior. We know we can help hundreds and hundreds of students in our building behave consistently. We know that. But we also know that COVID is running rampant, surging in communities, and we know that the most vulnerable people are unvaccinated, and we're in person. So who are the most vulnerable people? Our youngest students. And we don't want anything bad to happen to them. Therefore, these measures that we are demanding are both proactive and immediately needed.
Did we go back to school? Did the kids go back to school? Especially the young ones who aren't vaccinated.
You know, there's been a lot of folks who have been operating in schools across different places, across the state and the globe, where with all of the mitigation strategies in place, it is totally possible and safe to do so. We love teaching in person. Educators love teaching in person. We want the children to be safe while they're learning. And we know that they can't do that if we don't have safe school sites to do that. Our working conditions are student learning conditions, which is why educators always fight for communities in schools.
I'm with KPU, Steve Zeltzer, with Workweek. Where's all the money that has been spent by the federal and state government to refurbish the schools? Have an accounting of why it's not been spent on ventilators?
If you're talking about the larger state funding crisis, or that of which our
special funding, there was all this money. Federal, state money was allocated for COVID. I mean, billions.
Understood. Yes, and that is one-time funding. We're talking about the $12 million that the school district was able to qualify for. We're talking about the American Rescue Plan funds, which we know are coming. This is why we're putting on the pressure of our electeds. This needs to happen now. As far as the monies that's come from the state thus far as one-time funds, we haven't seen that come in. We've not seen any plans run across to do that, right? This is why we're putting on the public pressure. It's no longer a trust that it will happen. It is we need the eyeballs on the plan. We need to see the balls rolling, and we want to know when and where.
Are you saying that they haven't protocols for testing at the schools? That you're going to go back, there's teachers, students, and staff are going to go back without testing protocols?
So there aren't right now, and that's up to DPH. San Francisco Department of Public Health doesn't require the testing of anyone. You can check. They have more specifics on their website. They're very clear with their COVID. They have created the floor of standards, not the ceiling.
What do you want the school district to do?
We want the school, we are aware that the school district cannot do this alone. We know that the school district can do everything they can and more when they're working with the other municipal powers that be, right? We need them to be working with DPH. We need them to be working with the city, not just the supervisors, but also the mayor, to implement a widespread strategy of the best quality of education in person. And the way to do that during COVID and during air quality crisis is to have universal testing for everyone. We need to have high quality masks available for everyone. And we need every school space to have air purifiers for when we do have to realistically close the window. We don't want to close schools. We want to stay open safely. That's what needs to happen.
And Cal OSHA, where is the state government? Have you had safety inspectors go through the schools? Safety engineers go through the schools from Cal OSHA?
So the only thing that was required was DPH clearance. And DPH, according to the school district, cleared every single school site before it opened. Whatever that means.
And these are the students who said that they're rats?
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. We're talking about systemically underfunding school sites for years. We're talking about Prop 13 from the 1970s that continues in place. We put forward and helped support to get Prop 15 on the ballot years ago, 2 years ago, to try and get a refresh just on commercial property alone, that Disneyland and Chevron, for example, and Shell, some of the largest landholders in California, would pay property taxes at 2021 rates instead of paying the 1970 rates that they currently pay. That money for property taxes that is currently being held as wealth in this systemic situation is what contributes to the chronic underfunding of the infrastructure of these students that could have been dealt with had there been an ongoing influx for capital improvements.